and you're watching Dante's Vaccination.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So ever since Tyson Fury, he pulled out of this fight by pulling the COVID card, nobody believes him. And when I say nobody believes he caught COVID, I mean absolutely no one, which includes the decafs, includes old media, and even Eddie Hearn, who's been defending Tyson Fury more than Tyson Fury's own promoters have. But even Eddie had to admit that the whole pulling out of this fight for COVID, it came off as extremely suspicious. First, Eddie, he said, I don't know if this was because the fight wasn't selling, because maybe Tyson Fury wasn't prepared, or what. This is what he said. And then later on, he started focusing only on this rumor that the tickets weren't selling. He stopped talking about Tyson Fury not being ready, which we can see in these clips that clearly he wasn't in shape, nowhere near the shape that he was in the second fight. But it surprises me for someone like Eddie Hearn, who's been in the business for so long, to be talking like a casual fan. For you to even create this rumor and assume that this fight was canceled or postponed because of poor ticket sales, Eddie Hearn should have already known it wouldn't even matter if the fight wasn't selling at all. So it doesn't matter if this is the biggest fight of the year or if they sell no tickets, if nobody buys it. But it's already been proven that this was the biggest fight of the year. Do you guys know the press conference that they did was the most anticipated press conference? It was the biggest press conference in like 4 or 5 years, since Floyd Mayweather fought Conor McGregor in their press conference. That was the last press conference that was as big as this one. And let me play this clip of what Bob Arum had said during that press conference. Check it out.
But your thoughts on the third one, as we are about a month and a half away.
All right, well, let's be honest about it. The first fight was a tremendous fight. Tyson showed what a great boxer he was. He got knocked down twice, and they called it a draw. The second fight was, as we all witnessed, a very one-sided fight. But when heavyweights participate in a one-sided fight, it's still great because they love to see, the fans love to see the big guys duking it out. And now the third fight, based on the first two, I really predict will be bigger than the first two fights. Based on the orders that we're getting for tickets, they far exceed what we did in the last fight. And I really believe that the pay-per-view, now that we all had the opportunity to watch that second fight, the pay-per-view is going to be bigger this time than it was last time. And we're happy that every restaurant is opening up around the country because the closed circuit action in the United States, they'll be shown in all the restaurants and bars, will be tremendous. There's a pent-up demand that the fans have. So I'm looking forward to a great fight, to a great event, and I think it's going to set all kinds of records for a heavyweight championship fight.
Okay, guys, so that's what Bob Arum said. Now, I'm going to go ahead and quote what Frank Warren said. He said they sold $14 million worth of tickets for the venue, contrary to what some people say. That's the amount that's sold. So it's rescheduled, and that's when it's won. Why is Bob going to lie about that? That's what he sold. Remember, it was going to be the first event in Vegas, a boxing event. So there was a big anticipation about it. All the hotels, from what I understand, were taking loads and loads of tickets, buying lots of tickets, booking tickets. So who knows? Maybe we'll be able to get some more Brits over there in October, so there will be even more then. End quote. Listen, man, this fight is going to be the most successful or one of the most successful cards this year for many different reasons. The main reason is because of the controversy, because everyone is really thinking deep down, wow, can Tyson Fury beat this man without cheating? Will this fight be different? You got to remember, you got Tyson Fury's own father worried for his son. By way of contrast, Tyson Fury's father, he was very confident talking about the rematch, the second fight. Now, all of a sudden, he's saying he doesn't know if his son will win. In fact, he said he wouldn't be surprised if Wilder wins. He expects to see a different Wilder. He was really, really worried about this fight, and he didn't want his son to take the fight, which is most likely part of the reason why Tyson Fury pulled out in the first place. And then you have to look at a lot of the professional fighters that are surprisingly actually picking Deontay Wilder to win the fight. Gervonta Tank Davis, who was praising Tyson Fury for his performance in the second fight, he's now picking Deontay Wilder to win. Ricky Hatton, who works with Tyson Fury, he showed major concerns when it came to Tyson Fury taking this fight against Wilder a third time. So it's really crazy for Eddie Hearn to say this, especially when you consider the fact that I can guarantee you Wilder Fury 3 is going to be way bigger than Anthony Joshua versus Usyk. It's going to be way bigger. You guys have to understand, race sells in the sport of boxing. The sport of boxing is based on race, nationality, and pride in that order. And because this was such an important win to the anti-black fans, their eyes are going to be glued to the TV when this third fight happens, because they know that Deontay Wilder has a good chance of ending this fairy tale. What you also have to realize is Tyson Fury was introduced to a lot of casual fans that didn't even know who he was until he won this fight. You got a lot of fans that just heard some guy, some white guy, knocked out the black champion. And they're like, what? Who? They go get on YouTube and they start doing research. Now all of a sudden they know everything about Tyson Fury. Now they're a huge Tyson Fury fan. And that's the reason why this is going to be a much bigger fight. Because a lot of the fans that didn't even really watch boxing, but they just like the fact that the white guy beat the black champion, now they're going to make sure that they watch every Tyson Fury fight, especially if it's against this guy again, Deontay Wilder. And by the way, did you guys notice those racist comments that I posted? Those were people celebrating Tyson Fury's win over Deontay Wilder in the second fight. Now, when you look at the names attached to those racist comments, surprisingly, what you'll find out is the majority of those racist comments didn't even come from white Brits or white people at all. The majority of the names were Latino names. And we all know which Latinos they were. You know, speaking of Latinos, I find it extremely ironic that Eddie Hearn, he talked about how poor the ticket sales were for the Wilder versus Fury fight, and yet the Wilder versus Fury fight had already generated more money than Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders did. And that's with over 66,000 tickets being sold for the Canelo fight. You see, the reason why Canelo versus Saunders tickets didn't generate the same amount of money that the Wilder versus Fury fight did is because the Canelo fight, or in the Canelo fight, the tickets were a lot cheaper. Canelo versus Billy Joe Saunders generated $9 million. But yet Wilder, or Fury versus Wilder, had already generated $14 million like 2 weeks before the fight. Which means they still could have sold even more tickets. I can guarantee you, Tyson Fury versus Wilder in October, if Fury doesn't pull out again, it will be, if not number one, it will be top two, the biggest fight of the year in terms of revenue. The only fight right now that's competing with this fight is Errol Spence versus Manny Pacquiao. Let's see how it all plays out. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one. Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Deki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodeki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.